Folks, those Western leaders who supported Israel are now in serious trouble. We're getting news that European leaders are being sued in the International Criminal Court, the same court going after Netanyahu, and they could face similar trials. This means they're being held completely complicit in whatever happened in Gaza. This is a major development. I don't think accusations like genocide have been leveled against Europeans in recent times. Certainly not like this. There's real fear spreading across Europe right now that this could actually happen. Here's what I think. What Israel has done is going to prove very costly for its supporters. When the time comes, these leaders' own countries will disown them, just like Germany disowned Hitler. Now, Hitler's entire perspective was focused on Germany, its superiority, racial ideology, all of that. When that same Germany turned around and disowned Hitler, that's what happened. When history turns, this happens again. You'll see that the time will come when Israeli settlers themselves will disown Netanyahu. And this fear has now taken root within Europe. Following these developments, neighboring countries and Middle Eastern nations are putting pressure on Trump to stop Israel's bombing campaign. Trump himself issued a statement urging Israel to stop bombing. Trump then claimed that Israel had stopped bombing. But here's the thing. It hasn't stopped. So now the pressure is shifting back to Trump. Meanwhile, as Western powers face this crisis, Russia and China are building strategic alliances. Today, some major news broke. Russia's strategic partnership with Venezuela has been finalized, and a military alliance with Cuba has been finalized. This is huge news because it sends a crystal clear message. When the U.S. is about to wage war in that region, Russia has established partnerships and military alliances right in that zone. The message is unmistakable. Russia stands with Venezuela, Cuba, and their other allies. Trump has announced his decision to give Ukraine long-range missiles, including ATACMS missiles. Russia has stated that it knows how to destroy them and can also conduct nuclear tests. Just like when you fire a missile, when you fire an intercontinental ballistic missile, you're sending a message. We can send these your way too. Whenever a nuclear nation conducts a nuclear test, it's an extreme situation. It sends a clear message. We can use nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapons testing is very rare. These incidents only happen occasionally. So when Russia says they can do this, that's significant. Now look at this. What message has the Israeli army chief issued to his troops in Gaza? Imagine the humiliation and defeat Israel is facing right now. The Israeli army chief has issued instructions to forces in Gaza to exercise extreme caution. For what? To avoid any operational incident that could harm the chances of advancing negotiations. This is such a humiliating situation. The Israeli army has to take extreme precautions to prevent any operational incidents. Casualties are occurring within the Israeli army. They happened on October 7th, and they're still happening today. Casualties continue there. Think about this scenario. Negotiations are underway. If Israel is forced into a ceasefire here, and a major casualty event occurs there, meaning large numbers of Israeli soldiers killed, what will that look like? Israel declares a ceasefire claiming victory while Israeli soldiers are being killed on the ground. Rockets are being fired from Gaza. Yemen is sending missiles. Everyone will know who really achieved victory and who didn't. This means the resistance not only still exists, but Israel is suffering casualties on the very day it might declare victory. The humiliation they're facing is defeat itself. Hamas is present. The resistance exists, and it exists with enough force that it's firing rockets, causing casualties, and Yemeni missiles are still coming through. They couldn't even stop Yemen, so they're saying to their troops, ease up on the tensions. They're telling them to back off. There's no greater humiliation than not being able to engage in confrontation with Hamas right now. Along with all this, you're going to see 2 or 3 major news stories unfold. In the next 48 hours, many things will be revealed to us. First, the Nobel Peace Prize will be announced. Other disciplines have already been announced, like the one in chemistry. That just went to a Jordanian-American scientist. Yesterday, the Nobel Prize in Physics was announced. The Nobel Peace Prize is scheduled for October 10th. All of Trump's rapid-fire efforts are connected to this. One aspect is definitely the Nobel Peace Prize. So what will his behavior be if he wins it? What will his behavior be if he doesn't? This is an important development we're about to witness. Secretary of State Blinken has already arrived in Egypt. Media reports say that Qatar has confirmed they'll come and finalize the situation as Trump ordered. When they finalize things, we'll see that too. These two parallel developments are happening simultaneously. Currently, Countries are pressuring Trump while also praising him, saying, "Man, what a tremendous job you're doing." For example, the Egyptian president has invited Trump to Egypt. The Egyptian president invited Trump to visit Egypt and attend the ceasefire signing ceremony because Trump really loves the idea of stopping wars. He needs all this product, so they're saying, "You're doing a tremendous job. This is happening because of you." They're suggesting Trump should come there since he's already visiting Asia, touring Southeast Asia. So they're saying, "You should come here as well and participate in the ceasefire ceremony." During this time, Erdogan called Trump. Erdogan said the bombing in Gaza must stop. The biggest obstacle to peace is the ongoing Israeli attacks despite Trump's clear calls to stop. Look at how they're putting pressure on Trump. You said the bombing should stop. Then you said it stopped, but it hasn't stopped. Trump's own words are being used against him. In any case, he's pushing his agenda forward with full force. When Erdogan recently spoke to Parliament, he said, "Under no circumstances will we leave the Palestinians alone." In the meantime, here's the next major development. A historic, first ever Russian-Arab summit is going to take place on October 15th. According to Russian media, MBS Mohammed bin Salman may also attend. This means MBS, who currently isn't making any foreign trips, may attend this event in Moscow, possibly even virtually from home, as Russian media is reporting. But this summit is going to be very important. By then, we'll have news about whether the ceasefire is happening, whether it's permanent or temporary, and to what extent America supports the Arabs and listens to their demands. This will be discussed there, and it's of tremendous importance. Moscow will host the first Arab-Russian summit on October 15th with the participation of Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The strengthening of the partnership between Saudi Arabia and Russia is happening right now. And what news is coming out of Italy? Italy, where there are massive protests, historic protests, general strikes. The way people have come out there is a significant development. Look, even the White House is taking a very tough position now. Check out this news from Italy. Italy's Prime Minister Meloni himself confirmed that yesterday, a complaint was filed against him in the International Court of Justice for genocide, alleging complicity in the Gaza genocide. Like saying if someone committed genocide, he's an accomplice. This complaint has been filed against him, and he confirmed it himself. Now look at the entire international media coverage. Al Jazeera is reporting, Italy's Meloni says ICC complaint accuses him of complicity in Gaza genocide. France's largest media outlet is saying, Meloni says ICC complaint accuses him of participation in Gaza genocide. Italy's Meloni has been denounced to the ICC for complicity in this case. This is a huge deal. This is massive considering that European leaders, are supposed to be symbols of human rights, democracy, and freedom, all of that, right? They position themselves as symbols, whether they actually are or not, but they do present themselves that way. The whole world is watching them, realizing that human rights violations are taking place. Complaints of genocide are being filed against these leaders, demanding they be tried. This is no small matter. I don't think such a complaint has ever been filed against any European leader. In a world court in modern times, they're being severely damaged, and they're being harmed by their association with Israel. The Italian Prime Minister is a major supporter of Netanyahu, and Italy has not recognized Palestinian statehood. He's a big supporter, so there are conflicts within Italy itself, and now this has happened. And then look at another interesting development, the G7, which was Israel's biggest supporter bloc. 5 of the leaderships that existed in the G7 after October 7th have all disappeared. 5 major leaders who were supporters of Israel are gone. UK Prime Minister, gone. Japan's Prime Minister, gone. Biden, gone. German Chancellor, gone. Canada's Prime Minister, gone. Only 2 members of the G7 remain from the October 7th lineup. One is Macron and the other is Meloni. Macron initially fully supported Israel, then began to backtrack. And now Macron has taken a strong stand against Israel. But Macron himself is in a crisis right now. Italy's Prime Minister is still a major supporter of Israel. But right now, as the country itself faces a massive crisis and is falling apart, the entire G7 pro-Israel coalition is being dismantled. Look at Germany's new chancellor. The previous one was ousted partly because he was a supporter of Israel. There was a massive electoral backlash where voters expressed anger about why Israel was being supported. Now, It's true that the new chancellor is also a supporter of Israel, but for how long can he go against? Key voter sentiment? What happens when the next elections come? This leadership is becoming unpopular. There are many other issues, but the Palestine issue, above all others, is causing them significant damage. They're thinking, this situation could happen to us too. Look, it's not Italy that's to blame. The Italian prime minister is the one to blame as a leader. I told you, this is Europe's own history. Countries tend to disown their leaders when times change. He wasn't even our man. I mean, think about Hitler, a man whose entire campaign was based on the narrative that Germany, its race, and its people are superior. Didn't Germany disown Hitler? That very Germany. His entire campaign, his entire war, was about we are Germans, our race is superior. He was so deeply connected to German identity. Germany threw him away, saying this wasn't ours at all. Recently, when the German chancellor was sitting in the White House, he said, referring to World War II, on this day, we gained independence from the Nazis. Can you imagine what he was saying? When we gained independence from the Nazis, and who were the Nazis? The Germans who called themselves the superior German race. We gained independence from them. Countries like these disown their leaders when times change. Anyway, now Netanyahu has to be disowned by the Israeli settlers themselves, right? Where will this lead? Look at Western leaders. It's not necessary that they'll actually face trial. The accusations against them, their popularity plummeting, their governments potentially collapsing tomorrow, that's enough. It's not like the Italian prime minister will definitely face trial, or the case will necessarily escalate. Anything could happen, but the point is, this accusation alone is enough. As this case progresses, all European countries are thinking about it. Overall, if you look at Europe, their leadership is facing a crisis. For example, the president of the European Commission recently faced a vote of no confidence, and she's facing severe criticism. The deal she made with Trump is extremely unpopular right now. Furthermore, Macron himself is facing a significant crisis. The German chancellor himself, the polls are reporting one thing, while his policy on the Israeli war and Ukraine war is something else. Right now, there's strong resentment against their top diplomat, Kaja Kallas, and they're saying get rid of her. This entire European leadership, Macron, the German chancellor, the president of the European Union, Ursula von der Leyen, Kaja Kallas, Meloni, you can count these 8 to 10 people. All that main leadership is under challenge and becoming unpopular. Look at the headlines. European diplomats lose patience with Kaja Kallas, bluntly unqualified and obsessed with Russia. They're saying she has no clue and behaves more like a cop than a diplomat, like a soldier whose job is to wage war. Her day begins and ends with Russia, meaning she spends all day talking about Russia and has no other work. Just listen to this. Her focus solely on Russia is blinding her to broader global realities and damaging Europe's credibility. Look, Israel is nothing. It's a construct planted by Europe and America, who supported it, and it survives because of them. Europe is still supporting Israel. What's the report from the UK today? The UK is giving Israel aid at record high numbers. Despite claiming they're not, the report came out again today. There'll be another debate on that, so ignoring the broader changes taking place in the world, the broader realities that are emerging. This lady, who has a very important role as the High Representative of the European Union, overseeing security and diplomacy, is not seeing the broader realities. Her direction remains solely Russia-centric. Therefore, all of Europe is being damaged by her policies, and that's why there's anger inside. Even recently, when the India-Pakistan issue was going on, she lectured India and Pakistan, which led to a strong rebuke from India, who criticized her approach as wrong. The people of India responded to this. The former Indian Foreign Secretary said that Kaja Kallas is a parachutist and is not qualified for this job. Now look at this, inflexibility and poor diplomacy. Foreign Policy wrote today that Kaja Kallas, Europe's top diplomat, isn't diplomatically sufficient. I'm simply putting it before you. Israel is an international phenomenon, a symbol of the Western order. These Western countries will emerge from whatever crisis they find themselves in, or they'll manage their countries, fight whatever battles they can, and figure out how to resolve their own issues. But they can no longer shoulder this spectacle, this liability they created. Back when they had wealth and power, they did whatever they wanted. Now, that kind of situation won't work anymore. Now they'll manage their own countries, and they're Europeans. They have a history, and they obviously have to resolve their issues however they can. Whether they succeed or not, whatever happens, they can't bear this burden anymore. The fundamental point of presenting their crisis to you is this: the evidence shows. They're becoming so entangled in their own affairs, they're becoming so rapidly caught up. Such a major leadership crisis has emerged. Israel is defeated and isolated, and the Europeans themselves aren't liking it. So how long will this leadership continue to sit with this burden? Now, Luxembourg, a powerful country, recently recognized the Palestinian Authority. Its prime minister stated that recognizing the Palestinian Authority is the right thing to do, meaning they've fully defended it. Meanwhile, important news is coming out of Venezuela and Cuba. Top Russian leaders, Medvedev and the Chinese Prime Minister, are visiting North Korea. And what's happening in Venezuela and the Caribbean region? They finalized the Maduro Strategic Partnership, cementing the Venezuela-Russia Strategic Partnership today. That means an attack is imminent there, and Russia's partnership is being finalized there. The clear message is that Russia is standing with them. So if we want to fight Venezuela, we'll have to fight Russia too. Long-standing alliance with Moscow and deep mutual coordination in energy, defense, and trade matters will move forward within various major sectors. And the Russian Federation Council approved a joint military cooperation agreement with Cuba. The same thing is happening with Cuba. So they finalized a military alliance with Cuba today. These are the major developments today. Venezuela and Cuba are the major events in the global arena. Making these agreements when war is imminent is Russia saying they're responsible for both Cuba and Venezuela. And let me tell you, whatever Russia is doing right now, China is on board with it. So sometimes you'll see Russia in the forefront with China in the background. Sometimes China will appear ahead with Russia behind. Whatever these two countries are doing, morning, evening, noon, and night, they're in agreement on every single issue. Their ongoing coordination determines who's signing what with whom, who's providing what to whom. For example, if Russia is giving technology to someone, and if China has a conflict with that country, will that Russian technology be used against China? Russia won't give technology to such a place. Therefore, whatever is happening is being done in coordination. Neither is China giving anything to any country that would harm Russia's interests. Meanwhile, war preparations are happening in Venezuela, and Su-30s are flying there. Venezuela is showing off its military strength by conducting bombing runs. So when the Su-30s are flying and dropping bombs, there's the Charlie Kirk issue in America. It's a very serious matter, and it's not ending yet. There's a lot of anger there, and the MAGA people are especially furious. They're bringing evidence that Israel wasn't happy. Currently, there's a very prominent American figure, a media personality, Tucker Carlson, and they're part of the same group. They shared evidence in which Charlie Kirk himself explains how, since he started criticizing Israel, his funding for his organization has been cut. Israel wasn't happy. In the recent past, Charlie Kirk was criticizing the Iran war, saying it wasn't in America's best interests. He was also criticizing the Gaza war. So there's a lot of anger there. So a lot is going on simultaneously. Let's see what results the coming days bring. This is the current situation that I've shared with you. Please do share your opinion. Take care.